Hi, everybody. Welcome to Crafting and Crime Daily. Tonight, I thought rather than recap this tomorrow, I thought I would just go ahead and show you. Let me turn off the volume on my iPad. I want to just go ahead and show you the testimony of Jennifer Crumbley because there's no better way than just to see it. I could recap it, and I will have a recap for you tomorrow on some things that I listened to today, including the guy that she was having an affair with. If you're watching back on the replay, let me know that you stopped by. Do hashtag replay. Leave me a comment. What do you think of the testimony that you're going to hear? Now, my understanding is the cross-examination starts first thing tomorrow, but I wanted to hear her direct testimony. So I'm going to wait till a few more people jump in. I'll show you what I'm working on. This is a great thing to watch while you're diamond painting or crocheting or whatever it is you're doing. I'm doing some tapestry crochet. Look, 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 look. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm all the way up here. I'm on, I've just finished row 100. Hi, Lisa. Welcome, welcome. So I will stop the video from time to time. If I forget to unmute myself, please remind me, hey, you're muted. So if you have any questions, you can ask me any questions you might have. But I think this is going to be interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to, so get yourself something to drink. Pull up your craft. Hi, Lynn. Oh, Lynn, I got your card. It was so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. So should we just get right into it? Lisa says fuchsia flower shape, beautiful. Oh, you're doing when you read the icons, you have to read them on StreamYard. They don't show the icons. It's so funny. So she's sending me a fuchsia flower. That's really pretty, Lisa. Oh my God, I'm so silly. Okay, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this. Hit that thumbs up button, which means you'll have to leave chat for just a second. Hit the thumbs up and you can come right back. Oh, I think my sister's awake. Okay, so let's get into it. All right. Let me know if you want to stop. If you have a question, you want me to stop the video. This is not live now. This just happened a couple of hours ago. So let me know if you have questions and you want me to stop and answer questions. So let's go here. And I will share this with you. Let's make it full screen. And I want to go all the way back to the beginning.
Go up there and I'll just make a record about her testifying and we'll do the motion later. Is that okay? Okay, go have a seat up there. And the deputy's going to be behind you. You're just going to start in the box, okay?
Could you raise your, oh wow, yeah, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can be seated. Lisa, would you like to question her?
I would. For the record, can you start by stating your name, please?
Oh, sure, yeah, you can post it. Let's see what it was like.
Hi. Can you start by stating your name?
It's Jennifer Crumbley.
And Mrs. Crumbley, you and I have been working together since December of 2021, correct?
Correct.
And is it fair to say that over these last 26 months, we've discussed whether or not you intended to testify a number of times?
We have.
Do you want to testify in your case?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you did not testify, this judge, this court would give the jury instructions that it cannot be held against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that after I question you, the prosecution is going to be able to cross-examine you?
Yes.
And do you understand they're going to be able to cross-examine you about all of the evidence that's been admitted in the case, including all of your text messages or your Facebook messages to your husband, all of those messages with Mr. Maloche, all the evidence in the case,
Yes,
correct?
I do.
They get full reign on cross-examination. We've gone over that, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you have any questions for myself or for Judge Matthews about testifying?
No, I don't.
Are you doing this because anyone has threatened you or coerced you into testifying?
No.
Is this your choice?
Yes.
Is it voluntary, free, freely made by you.
Yes.
Is there anything you think the court should know about this decision?
No,
Just,
Do you have any questions for me, Mrs. Crumbley?
I do not.
Okay. All right.
Should we address council's motion while the jury's out?
Well, I guess she mentioned that maybe we can do it later. We can reserve it. I'll reserve it.
sounds good, thank you.
All right, so, are you ready for the jury?
I am.
If you need to take a break for any reason, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it to get to the spot we need to be at.
I'm not sure, it depends on childcare.
So who would that person be?
I'm not sure. They have never told me who they were calling. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens when I just go like, okay. I'm gonna have to pull it out each time. So I apologize in between exhibits. So I'm gonna pull it out. All right, Mrs. Crumbley. Can you please start by identifying yourself? Tell the jury who you are.
My name is Jennifer Crumbley, and I'm the defendant in this case.
And how old are you?
I'm 45.
Mrs. Crumbley, the jury has heard so much testimony. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit faster through things. And if there's something we need to explain, or if I'm cutting you off, let me know. Okay. And you understand that as I speak, you have to wait for me to finish speaking?
Correct.
Okay. So Mrs. Crumbley, very briefly, go ahead and tell the jury what you did for a living.
I was a marketing director at a real estate acquisition company.
And how long did you hold that position?
5 years.
Now, does that kind of position include any kind of presentations or public speaking, anything like that?
Not a lot.
Okay. And how do you feel right now about talking to this jury?
Public speaking is probably my biggest fear. So very nervous.
Okay. And at times, you have been upset during this trial, is that correct?
Correct.
Are you okay to keep proceeding?
Yes.
I want you to tell this jury just a little bit about your personality, and I think we've seen some of it on the videos. Is that fair to say?
You have.
Okay, let's talk about when you have a really stressful situation. What is let's say an animal dies in your family or a person dies in your family. How do you handle something like that, news like that?
I go into go planning mode. I internalize things, and my reaction is to take care of other things that may have to be taken care of, like financials or things that keep the house running. I tend to hold things in, and I let it out when I'm alone. So having a lot of emotions for me is difficult.
Now, in this case, aside from this case, is that true in other situations of your life?
Yeah.
Can you give the jury like an example?
Yeah. My husband had a hard time holding down a job after his mother passed away. So when he would lose a job, I would actually be the one finding the ones for him and sending them from Indeed or Monster and taking plans of how we're going to put certain things on payments. It's just, I take control of things. That's just what I do.
Okay. And you, I want to talk to you. You mentioned your husband. When did you and James Crumbley meet?
In October of 2004.
And how long have you been together then?
It will be 18 years this September.
And are you still together and married at this time?
We are.
Have you spoken to him recently?
No,
How long has it been since you've spoken to him?
a little over 2 years.
So since the day of the shooting,
Correct.
or not shooting, the day you were arrested.
Correct.
You have a son.
Yes.
The jury's heard a lot about your son. Okay. I want to talk about your son prior to November 30th. Okay.
Okay.
Tell the jury how old he was at that time.
He was 15 years old.
And give the jury an idea about what kinds of things he was into, what his hobbies included.
Oh, he was really into bowling. He was actually really good at it. He was into metal detecting. He was
What do you
into,
mean by metal detecting?
he would, we have a metal detector. So we would go to the beach, or we went to Florida out by the ocean, or the neighbor's yard. They weren't there anymore. So you go in the neighbor's yard and see if you can find old coins or cans or whatever he would find. But he really liked that. He was into his BB guns and target practice. We had a half acre of land in the village of Oxford that went straight back. So in the backyard, we set up little targets that we got from Amazon that you can just kind of shoot down like little whatever. See, he was into his video games. He did soccer from age 3 until 9th grade. He had a lot of different interests. Coin collecting.
Do you have some interests?
I do.
Okay, we've heard about horses.
I like horses. I also snow ski. I'm a big reader, and I worked a lot, so I didn't have a lot of time to do the reading.
Okay, now when you say snow skiing, did you ever back up. Were there any activities that you and Ethan enjoyed doing together?
Yes. I joined the ski patrol because the family can ski free, and also to help people out. So I got him into skiing at the age of 7, and he would come out with me on my patrol shifts and come skiing with me. So we were in that together.
What about horses? Did he ever go out to the barn with you?
He did, but he didn't really like horses. The one horse I had was kind of aggressive, so it intimidated him, and it kind of turned him off from going to the barn. It's kind of boring if you're not the person with the horse. There's a lot of standing around and a lot of nothing.
Okay. So would you spend time together with him at home?
Yeah.
Okay, tell the jury what kinds of things you guys did together or as a family.
We did a lot of board games. We also had the virtual reality set for the PS4, so we did a lot of the Beat Saber. You can probably do that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like you're holding lightsabers and has music, and you have to like hit the beats, but it's all in 3D. So it's a virtual reality headset.
Okay, so you would do that with him?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
We had a pool. We liked swimming together. Really just normal stuff.
Okay, did you do holiday things?
We did.
Give us some examples.
So every year around Thanksgiving, I always cook Thanksgiving dinner. The day after, we would go cut our Christmas tree down. And then we decorate that weekend. We watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Halloween, we grew our own pumpkins. So we always carved our own pumpkins and had a whole bunch put around the house. Easter, it's normal family stuff.
Did you have an interest in like home improvement kind of stuff?
Yeah. Our house was an auction house. So basically it was wrapped in blue tarp when we bought it at auction. So we've been trying to improve the house since 2015. So we new roof, exterior, and then I've been working on exterior and interior ever since.
Were there things that your son was interested in outside of video games? Was there anything academic that he was interested in?
He really liked history. He was a big history buff. We can play Trivial Pursuit, and he would get me in history every single time. But that was probably his only favorite subject. The rest he could do without.
How did he do in school?
He did good if he applied himself. His problem was he didn't try as hard as I think he could. So he had up and down grades. I would say it's about average.
Okay, and when you say about average, was that something that you talked to him about? Was that something you monitored? Tell the jury about that.
Yeah, you heard about the Power School app during this trial. So I had it on my phone, and I was on it multiple times a day. And his grades will fluctuate based on what assignments the teachers turned in on the Power School app. Our biggest struggle with him were missing assignments. That was the one thing we battled all the time.
Why was that a hot button issue for you?
Because there's no reason why he should have missing assignments. He had a homeroom class and get assignments done in.
Okay. There were, you talked about your job. What were the average hours you worked a week?
I usually I got to the office between 7 and 8 in the morning and leave anywhere between 4 and 6.
And we've heard lots of evidence already. It was family friendly.
Yeah.
Were you able to go and leave and go as you needed to?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you care about your job?
I did a lot.
Okay. Explain, did you have any changes in positions over the year or year and a half, 2 years before this?
I did. When I first started with the company, I was hired in as a social media coordinator. I stayed in that role until about 2020. I got promoted to director of marketing. And I held the position until I was terminated.
Okay. And you were, did you work during COVID?
I did. I worked remotely for about 6 months during COVID. Then I went back to the office in, I believe it was August of 2020.
Did you enjoy work?
I did. It was fun. It was marketing's, it's exciting, and I like doing graphic design. I did. I really liked my job.
Now, the jury already heard about Brian. Brian testified.
Correct.
Tell the jury about Brian.
Well, I've known him since high school. We've been friends since then. He's part of the horse community. He has horses. And as you heard yesterday, we did have an extramarital affair. It's probably the extent of our, but we were good friends too.
How often in terms of the affair, how often would you spend time together with Brian during 2021?
Maybe an average of once a week.
Okay. How long
Less.
did the affair last over?
About 6 months.
Do you feel like that affair caused you to neglect Ethan or not spend time with him? I'm sorry, your son, in any way?
No,
Explain why you don't feel that's the case.
because when I met with Brian, it was in the mornings. On his way home from the station, he would pass my work. And so the time I was coming to work, we'd meet at the Costco parking lot, and that was it. He'd go out about his day, I'd go about mine.
And is it fair to say that you lied to keep that affair going?
Yes, I did.
And I apologize if I asked this, I just am not writing notes. Did you say the date range that started?
It was around spring of 2021.
Okay. And as far as you knew, did you ever talk to your son about that?
No,
And did you ever talk to your husband about it?
no,
If anything, you lied to him about what you were doing, or lied by omission, not telling him.
no, yeah. As far as I knew, I was going to work in the morning. That was,
Okay. Outside of those morning times, how many other times would you say you and Brian got together?
it was 2 or 3. I went on some business trips where I would stay overnight, and he would meet me. He would meet me at the hotel
So that happened 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times.
Were there other business trips you took where he did not meet you?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
When Christy Gibson Marshall testified, do you remember who she was?
I do.
Who was she?
She was the assistant vice principal.
And she commented, she knew Ethan in or she knew your son in elementary school, correct?
Correct.
And she said, she testified obviously already about recognizing him. Did that surprise you?
No,
She also mentioned something about emails with you. Do you recall having email exchanges with her?
there is one regarding his report card, getting additional help in math.
Was there any time at that point or into high school that you ever had to email with teachers about discipline issues?
Not discipline, no.
How often would you email about missing assignments or grade type issues?
That was a regular thing.
Okay, and you said you monitor power schools every day. Approximately how many times a month would you say you went to the teachers, or was it weekly? I don't know.
It would be, I wouldn't say it was on a regular basis, but when it happened, it was a series of messages. He'd be struggling in geometry. And so me and the teacher would message back and forth quite a bit. And then he started getting better and it was die off. So it was sporadic, but it was a lot when it happened.
Now, we saw pictures of your house. How did
Yes.
you feel about seeing those pictures?
Horrible.
Okay, why is that?
Because my son has a very messy room, and it was right after Thanksgiving, and we hosted Thanksgiving, and it was pretty messy. It was kind of embarrassing,
Okay,
really embarrassing.
explain the 2-bedroom thing, or what was going on with that?
So Ethan, sorry, my son, he had 1 bedroom, and it got out of control. And every time I go to clean it, I just shut the door. I just didn't want to deal with it. So then I told him he could just use the guest bedroom until I could get his room deep cleaned. The day before Thanksgiving, I was deep cleaning because we have people over every Thanksgiving. And my intention was to clean both rooms, but I caught my oven on fire in the self-clean mode. So instead of, I had the fire department out and everything. So instead of getting his rooms clean, I was scraping out the black charcoal stuff inside your oven so I could cook dinner the next day. But yeah, he was in a 2nd bedroom because I didn't want to clean his room anymore. It was enough.
Did you have any plans to do anything with all that stuff?
Yeah, we're going through a lot of stuff because he outgrew a lot of the clothes and the shoes. There's a lot of toy-like things that he doesn't use anymore, so we're just going to pack it up and donate it.
Okay, and when were you planning to do that?
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, before he got new stuff.
Now, we saw a video, I guess I want to talk to you about, there's one friend in particular your son spent a lot of time with, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we're not going to say his name, but let's just refer to him as the friend.
Okay.
Okay. Overall, was that your son's only friend?
That was his only friend that came over. He did have friends that he talked to during school, but that was the only one that he spent time with outside of school.
And how often would you say he came over?
Oh, he used to walk home with them every day from school. The summertime, he'd go on camping trips with us. Sometimes he would spend more than a week with us. He called him my 2nd son.
Okay, he was the 2nd son. Did you know he was going to be moving away at any point?
Not that abruptly, no.
Okay, so when he moved away, is it fair to say it was a surprise to you and your son?
It was.
What kinds of things would the boys do together at your house?
Oh, they go down to the lake and go fishing. They would walk to Little Caesars or Frosty Boy. They go in the backyard, shoot the BBs. They go swimming in the pool. We took them bowling a lot. They played video games.
Now, when you had him over at the house, or I guess, was it more common for him to be at your house or for your son to be at his friend's house?
My son has never been to his house.
Okay, why is that?
Because he had OCD, not my son, but his friend had OCD issues and he didn't want other people in the house.
At your house, did that friend exhibit any issues?
No, not at all.
Okay, so were you surprised when he moved?
Yeah, very surprised.
We saw evidence that you had Life 360 on your phone and it was on James's phone, right?
Correct.
Can you tell the jury what Life 360 is, what the point of it is, why it's on the phone?
The family tracking app, so you know where people are at. My husband's mother-in-law got sick in the middle of April, and instead of me worrying about where he was while he was down in Florida with his mother and I was up here, we just installed the app on his phone, so I knew if he was at the hospital, if I knew he was at his dad's house. So just that way, I have to bother him. I'm always worried about him and places he goes. So it's just one thing that eased my mind a little bit.
Do you is that something you frequently message your husband? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
A lot.
Okay, so the jury's going to see the entire stack of exhibits. If they go through all of your messages, how often a week would you say you're on top of him about where he is?
Daily.
What about your son? Were you ever worried about where he was?
I mean, not during the day. He was at school. If he didn't get home from school at the time he was supposed to, I'd worry about him.
Okay. And did you ever ask James about him in messages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The prosecution introduced evidence that makes it sound like you and James only talk about these horses.
Actually, the form of the question makes it sound, and this is direct exam, not cross, so this should be not an easy question.
Okay. How often would you say you discuss your horses versus your son when you're messaging each other?
A lot more with the horses.
Why is that?
Because my horses at least were accident prone. And my husband didn't know a lot about horses. They were more my thing. With him working from home, a lot of times I'd have him go out and check on him, tell him what to do. He started getting into him. He had questions. I knew my son was at school. I knew where he was at during the day. I can talk to him after school. Horses can't talk. So if something's wrong, we got to kind of figure it out. But yeah, we talked a lot about horses.
Is it fair to say that, did you have additional conversations with James about horses and or Ethan?
Yeah.
How often would you and James talk about or talk to Ethan?
We'll talk to him every day. Talk about him probably every day too.
Okay. What kind of, did Ethan have scheduling things you had to work out?
Yeah, he had bowling practices throughout the week, bowling matches, and he worked part-time at a diner. So we had to work out transportation and scheduling with that.
In terms of your relationship with your son, how did you think your relationship was?
I thought we were pretty close. We would talk. We did a lot of things together. I trusted him, and I felt like I had an open door and he can come to me about anything. I mean, I felt as a family, the three of us were really close.
Okay, you're getting a lot of, no, it's okay. You're getting a lot of redness here. Is that normal?
Yes, because I'm talking in front of people and my nerves act up. So I get splotchy and I might break out in hives, and I apologize.
Okay, but you are okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So with regard to your son, did you ever go through his text messages, go through his bedroom? What kind of a parent were you in terms of going through those things?
I did not go through his text messages. I didn't have a reason to. His bedroom, I would go through when I clean it. I come across things, I look through it to see if it was something I need to keep or throw away. But I never went through his text messages.
What about, you did say you went through his grades.
Correct.
Did you end up having discipline issues with him?
A couple of times we did, yes.
What kind of things would those be over?
Missing assignments in his grades.
Okay. Well, any other things that were discipline issues
No,
at school or at home?
no.
Was there ever a time where you took away your son's phone?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall when that was?
I don't remember exactly. I just know he got really angry about it. But we took him away a couple of times. We've taken his video games away.
Why did you do that?
Missing assignments in his grades.
Okay. So same stuff.
Same stuff.
Okay. We're going to talk about some of the text messages, and you would agree the prosecution admitted some text messages about one of those times when you took away his phone.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll get there. Okay. I want to talk about mental health. Did you ever believe that your son needed mental health treatment, therapy, counseling, anything?
No, I mean, there's a couple of times where Ethan had expressed anxiety over taking tests, anxiety about what he was going to do after high school, whether it was college, military. So he expressed those concerns to me, but not to a level where I felt he needed to go see a psychiatrist or a mental health professional right away. No.
Did you ever deny him or say, no, I'm not going to take you to a mental health professional? Did he ever ask you?
No, I mean, one time when he was talking about what he wanted to do for his future, I don't know, he was feeling really down about it and stressed. My husband did call his school counselor to try to talk to him because they do a lot of future academic planning with the tech school.
Was that a mental health issue?
No, it was more or less addressing what was upsetting my son at that time.
Okay, and what was upsetting him?
The fact that he didn't know what he wanted to do. His grades weren't that great, so he was stressed out about getting into college. He was just having a hard time with his future goals.
Was there ever a time he was considering military?
He talked about it, yes.
Okay. Any other things that he talked about?
He wanted to go into video. He wanted to design video games. He wanted to own his own car shop, like not be the mechanic, but own the shop that mechanics worked at. But that was about it.
Okay. Were there other kinds of health treatments you did get for him? Like, did you take him to the doctor?
Yeah.
How often or for what?
When he got sick, if it was obviously, well, during COVID, it was different because every little thing I freaked out about. So we'd take him to get a COVID test or take him to the doctors. But growing up, it would just be if he had a headache that persisted for for longer than a week. But most things are nothing serious.
Did he have insurance? Did you have insurance coverage on your son?
My husband did.
Okay, always, or were there times where you didn't?
All the way up through October of 2021 when my husband lost his job. And I was going to add him on to my health insurance in November of 2021 at the end of the enrollment period. That was the only time that insurance lasts with him.
Was that one of the outstanding things going on the day that all of this unfolded?
It was.
Despite, in addition to physically going to the doctor, did you have access to some kind of virtual plan?
Yeah, through my company. It's called Allied Health Network. It's a virtual doctor's visit. And actually the prescriptions were free too. They didn't cost anything. So we use that. If we had strep throat, you can take a picture of the throat, send it to the doctor, and they can treat it from there.
Were there times that you called that did virtual visits regarding your son?
Yeah.
And were there times, did you ever go to an urgent care or anything like that?
Yep.
For what kinds of things?
Well, usually for sports physicals, but if he was younger and had a really high fever and his regular doctor couldn't get him in, we take him to urgent care. He's never had an injury or anything, so mainly
Okay.
just that.
Was there ever a time that he had an issue with a mole on his back?
Yeah, he had a mole in the middle of his back. And when I was putting sunscreen on him, I noticed it changed color. So I made an appointment for the doctor to take him in to take a look at that.
Now that was when he was much younger, correct?
He was about 7, I believe.
You mentioned something about headaches for a week. You took him to the doctor. Was there a time where he had a headache issue?
Yeah, he was getting really bad headaches that we couldn't figure out what it was.
When was that?
Started young, probably around 5 years old, and he kept complaining. The doctors didn't really see anything. We even got X-ray of his head to see if there was any bumps.
Does it object as irrelevant when he's 5 or 6 years old?
I was asking, I didn't know when it was. I was just asking if she got a medical.
But it's
care.
gone on through the years.
Okay, and
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
So then we found out that he needed glasses. So around 8 or 9, we got him glasses, and that didn't work. He got X-rays done for dental in middle school. Found out he had a severe underbite, which was causing tension in the back of his neck. So we got him braces in 8th grade, and once he had his braces, that seemed to fix the headaches.
okay. Now with the braces, was that an easy process?
No,
Why not?
because he's horrible at brushing his teeth. He went use the water pick we got him. He wouldn't brush properly. He would constantly get cavities in his braces. So we ended up taking the wires out because one time he had 13 cavities under the braces. And we're trying.
Prior to him getting braces, did he ever have cavities?
Yeah, he had a few.
Okay, but did the braces, was it more after the braces?
Yeah, because he wasn't brushing properly around his braces. So he was getting them under, and we had to get the wires removed and take them to get those filled until we could get the wire put back on.
Okay, so it was like an off and on procedure.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go through some exhibits with you that the defense has proposed as exhibits B through XX. And I'm going to I wanted to add one more on as YY.
Judge, the council's proposed a number of exhibits appear to be from Facebook, not from a Cellbrite extraction, but from Facebook. Some predate the incident by years. So as far as relevance, Judge, I don't mind any exhibits around the date of the offense or even the relevant time periods, spring of 2021. But prior to that, it doesn't appear to be relevant.
Your Honor, they had the specific pictures I was using since October. The specific pictures, isolated, not all the pictures, but specific pictures I was using. They never filed a motion to exclude any of those.
They don't have to, right? Okay, so we'll go exhibit by exhibit. I haven't seen any of the exhibits, so they obviously will be treated differently.
Okay, can I, Your Honor, would you like me to bring you the hard copy, and then if the exhibit's okay, we can put it on the screen?
Yeah, if it's admitted, we'll put it on the screen.
Okay, and I did them
They
just,
have a copy, three copies of all this.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, so.
and I've actually had them redacted and then sent the redacted version to cut out the faces of any minors.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring the court, what's been marked as B through, this is YY if it's admitted, B through YY. May I approach?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Now, B is, I have a little bit of a problem because I was going to have my client hold those, so I don't put them on the screen. Because I don't know which ones, if any, the prosecution will stipulate to. So,
I can give these to her.
okay, so the first proposed exhibit is B.
So let me answer your questions here. She is trying to, the defense attorney is trying to, by asking the questions about the braces and the mole, she's trying to prove that Jennifer Crumbley was a hyper-vigilant mother. That, you know, if she sensed anything was wrong with her son, she would rush him to the doctor. Well, I beg to differ, but and as far as the room thing, like, why wouldn't you just make your son clean his room? Why would you give him another room? And that I've never even heard of such a thing. Okay, your room's dirty. Here, I'm going to give you another room. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Any other questions? I think what's happening now is we're just gonna go down memory lane and show pictures of her son from, I don't know. The whole giving him another room thing is just weird. Yeah. All right, let's get back to it.
It's several pages. It shows thumbnails throughout the years so the jury can see the variety of things posted on, because the prosecution introduced text messages.
How many pages is B?
I believe it's 14. They're just like thumbnails. I'm not going to go through each thumbnail either.
I'm just wondering, where does the second one start?
It's C, Exhibit C. Exhibit C would be the next exhibit. Okay, do you recognize what the court has just handed you?
Yes.
Okay, what is in Exhibit B? What does it appear to be?
These are pictures I've posted on Facebook.
Okay, and there's a lot of them. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay, are those are all the pictures you posted on Facebook? They're not from they're from the whole period, correct?
What do you mean?
What's the period?
Well, when did those start and go through?
I would say mainly 2000.
There's not
20?
any dates on that copy. There's
I'm
no
just-
dates on my
I
copy.
don't think there's any dates.
I can tell by the. Looks like from 2020 to 2021.
Now, do you post on Facebook a lot?
I do.
Like way too much?
I do.
Okay, so I am not gonna go through every Facebook post you've made. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would this exhibit give the jury an idea of what you post about generally if they just took a look at the variety of pictures?
Yes.
I have to object to the relevance. Again, it's from the time period that's relevant, I have no objection to these coming in. But even the defendant doesn't know with specificity when these were taken.
She says they start in 2020.
She thinks.
No, I know.
And there's no dates on there. Yeah, you'll have your turn. There's no dates on there. And if it's from the spring of 21 onto the shooting event, that's fine.
Your Honor,
That's
the
the time we talked
prosecution has
about.
made it sound like,
Okay, look, you specifically asked that you guys not talk at the same time.
sorry,
Yeah.
I did.
All right, so.
So B appears to be a thumbnail version of pictures. The rest of the exhibits are pictures with dates next to them.
Okay,
And that might be the best way to go through which ones are from the right date and which ones aren't.
okay, well, date-wise, this happened, November 30th, 2021.
That's right.
And things have been put into evidence with regard to the defendant and the shooter as early as April of 2020. March. Okay, so,
Yeah.
Your Honor, I believe they've gone back longer in terms of some of the testimony that's come out.
well, I guess I was gonna say that. So I don't think that the pictures starting in 2020 are yet remote. I don't know if there's any, I don't know if there's anything amongst those pictures that is particularly problematic. It's hard to look at them all, but the time frame in and of itself, I think is appropriate.
There are some, just so the court's aware, there's posts from 2017, 2019.
Wait,
Those are in the following ones where I did picture by picture. So those will go through after this exhibit.
This exhibit B,
Is 2020 and 2021.
okay, so just with regard to the time frame itself, I think the time frame is close enough in time. So I'm going to overrule an objection
Okay.
with regard to the mission of those pictures just based on the time frame.
All right.
But there's a lot of little pictures, so I don't know if any.
No, that's fine. We can go exhibit by exhibit.
I'm sorry?
I said we can go exhibit by exhibit.
The pictures in 2020, the pictures in defendant's exhibit B are small, so the exhibit contains a lot of little pictures, so I haven't
Right.
looked at those. I assume the prosecution has, so I don't know if
Yes,
any
sir.
pictures are objectionable with regard to the individual pictures, so.
Just it's the relevant dates was the objection.
Okay,
Okay, so Mrs. Crumbley, the jury is gonna get these if they wanna sit and look at all of them. Okay, I don't wanna go through all of them. There ends up being pages and pages. What are all of these?
The ones that are on the screen right now is Christmas of 2020 with the 2 white dogs and us posing from the Christmas tree.
I'm just trying to get like an over idea of topics that are in the photos.
Animals, us going on vacations at the Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes, Leelanau, camping, holidays, more camping, horses, garden, my home stuff, cooking, more camping pictures.
Okay.
We got a bathroom remodel, another Christmas picture.
Okay. And so these pictures give an idea of the variety of things you posted.
Yes.
So if your Facebook messages appear to have more discussion of horses, how would you characterize the amount of horses on Facebook compared to the rest of your life?
Over the last couple of years, more. It was hard getting a picture of my son as he got older. He didn't like me taking pictures of him. But yeah, over between 2020 up until 21, there was a lot of pictures of horses.
Okay, I'm gonna unplug this and move to Exhibit C.
oh, you want me to get this to her?
This goes back to 2019. I just put like 1 or 2 pictures from that year as Exhibit C. Well, C and D. And so if the court just wants to let me know what,
C, okay, so C and D, she said, you can identify those pictures, correct?
Yes.
What's in C? What's the date of it?
It is June 26, 2019.
Okay, and what is that? What is it a picture of?
It's a picture of my son holding his chinchilla.
Okay, and then what about picture? Let's see here, D.
Do you need the date?
Yeah, what's the date?
It's August 9th, 2019.
Okay, and what's the picture of?
My son petting our horse.
Okay.
You know,
and-
Judge, it's fine. I don't have any problem with either.
Okay, so you're the,
Yeah, the rest of them.
the rest of
all
them?
the column?
Yep.
Okay,
Judge.
thank you. Okay, so,
You're talking, then you would be talking about E through, I don't know if it's just pictures, there's some others. This goes to tax S, so.
and I'm sorry, it
you'll
should
have to
go,
let me know.
it should go to YY because I added on just one more. So may I approach Mrs. Crumbley just to give her YY?
Okay, do you want me to give this to Paul?
Yes, and then
Okay.
we'll just go through each one.
Do you agree with all these exhibits or just? the-
Yes, we just need the dates identified, that's all.
We'll put
Okay.
those on the record.
Well, I'm not gonna hand them to her if I need to look at them first, so.
I think they're not objecting to any of them, are
No,
Okay,
no,
okay. So Mrs. Crumbley, the jury's gonna have access to these, so let's just go through them. We are gonna identify the dates for the record though, okay?
Okay.
So going to exhibit, let's see here. This is C. What's the date on C?
That's June 26, 2019.
And what is that?
That's my son with his chinchilla.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go down to D. What's the date on that one?
That one's August 9th, 2019.
Okay. And what's going on in there?
That's my son with our horse.
Okay. I'm gonna go to E.
That's his first day of 8th grade. That's August 26, 2019.
Okay. And it's fair to say that I just picked out, these are not all your posts,
No.
right?
I don't want to keep you checking, but the form of the question has to be appropriate. Fair to say, this is a
Okay.
direct example.
I'm asking a really stupid question, but I'll ask it in a better way. Am I showing every photo from your Facebook page?
No.
You post more, or how about, do you post more photos than what we see?
A lot more.
Okay, we're not gonna go through all of them though,
No.
okay? So this is the first day of what? I'm sorry, last day of,
It's the last day of middle school. It's his first day of 8th grade.
okay. I'm gonna go down to F, what's been admitted as F. What date is that on?
October 11th, 2019.
Okay, and what's happening in that photo?
He just got his braces put on.
Okay. And let's go down to the next one, which is G. What's the date on G?
October 13th, 2019.
What's happening in G?
We're apple picking.
Okay, so these are just posts of events or things you're doing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, this one is older. It looks like or maybe not older, but what's the date on this one?
November.
This is, I'm sorry, I'm on H.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
November 7th, 2019.
Okay, and we see your son in this picture on the left, correct?
Correct.
What's going on in this picture?
He's on his it's the 9th grade Washington DC trip with the school.
Okay, I'm gonna go down to I. What's the date on I?
May 23rd, 2020.
And what's happening in that picture?
Can you scroll up a little bit? We're somewhere up north. I don't remember where, but we're on probably camping vacation.
Okay, he doesn't look thrilled to be in the picture.
He doesn't like pictures.
Okay. Let's go down to J. What's the date of J?
May 23rd, 2020.
Who's in this picture?
It's my son and James.
Okay. I'm gonna go down to K. This is a post you made?
Yes.
What date?
August 5th, 2020.
What are you showing there?
The house when we first bought it and the improvements we made so far.
Okay, so this is like a comparison before and after.
Yes.
All right. L, what's the date on L?
August 16th, 2020.
Okay, and there's a large black box out. What's under the box without saying who it is?
His friend.
Okay, so where are you guys in this picture?
Looks like we're up north.
Okay, then we're gonna go to M, and we're on September 28th. I'm sorry, what's the date of this picture?
September 28th, 2020.
Okay, what's this picture?
That's a picture of my son and our horse.
Okay, I'm going to N. What date is this?
October 23rd, 2020.
Okay, and what is this a picture of?
Something Ethan drew. Sorry, my son drew.
Okay, and why did you include this? Why did you post about that on Facebook?
Because he's always a really good drawer. He just draws all the time. And we got a lot of artists, actually tattoo artists in our family, a lot of good drawers. So said
Okay.
it was in his genes.
Okay, that's why you said art is in his genes, in
Correct.
the genes.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I'm going to O. What's the date on this one?
October 30th, 2020.
Okay, and what's going on here?
We are carving pumpkins for Halloween.
And there's a big black box.
That's his friend.
Okay. I am going down to P. What's the date on that one?
November 21st, 2020.
Okay, and who is around for this picture, even if you can't see them in the picture?
It's me and my husband and my parents. We're down in Florida over Thanksgiving.
And what is this that you're doing?
We're playing Dark Tower.
Okay. Did you guys play games with Ethan often?
Yes.
What games did you guys play?
We played Trivia Pursuit. We played What the Meme. We played Yahtzee. We played card games. We played a lot of Uno. The one with all the dice, Farkle, I think it's called. Yeah, Farkle. I don't know. We played a lot of games.
Okay, I'm gonna go down to Exhibit Q. What date's that?
That's November 24th, 2020.
Okay, and we see who's in the picture.
My husband and my son.
Okay, Exhibit S. What's the date?
January 22nd, 2021.
Okay, what's going on in R?
My son and his friend are playing Jenga.
Okay. S. Do you know the date on S?
Can you scroll up?
It's for some reason
Oh.
this one is different.
Well, it looks like it says February 25th, 2021.
And what's going on here? What's happening in February of 21?
They're at a bowling match.
Okay. Now let's go down to T. What's the date on T?
February 26th, 2021.
And what's happening here?
My stepdaughter came up and visited from Florida, and that's my son with his arm around her.
Okay. And with these photos, again, are there on your real Facebook profile, are there more photos or is it just what we're seeing?
There's more.
Okay. So what's the date on this exhibit U?
May 15th, 2021.
Okay, and what's the point of this post? There's a couple pictures.
That was showing our backyard improvements that we've done since we bought the house.
Okay. And then let's go to V. What's the date on V?
May 16th, 2021.
What are you showing here?
Our garden.
Okay. Now, this is W. What's the date on W?
May 29th, 2021.
Okay, and who's that?
That's my son and Dexter, his kitten.
Okay. Dexter is mentioned in one of the tapes. Is that correct?
Yes.
How is Dexter mentioned?
When we were at the substation, I asked my son why, and he said, because I just did take care of Dexter for me.
So when he said take care of Dexter,
He's meaning his kitten.
X, what's the date on X?
May 29th, 2021.
Okay, and what's going on this date?
My son and Dexter just hanging out in his bed.
Okay, we're gonna go to Y. What's the date on this one? I'm sorry, I'm going too fast.
May 31st, 2021.
Okay, who's in this one?
My son and his kitten.
Okay. Z, what's the date on this one?
June 13th, 2021.
And where are you guys?
We're at Cedar Point.
Is this like a family trip?
Yes.
Did you guys do a lot of family trips?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of family trips during summer of 2021?
Yeah.
Okay. We're here in exhibit AA. What's that? Yikes, I bumped it. What's the date on this one?
June 26th, 2021.
What are you showing here?
My garden.
Okay. This is exhibit BB. What date?
June 27th, 2021.
Okay. And what are you doing there?
In the pool.
Did you guys go in the pool with your son often?
Yeah. He'd join us.
Okay. And then let's see here. We've got CC date.
July 4th, 2021.
What's going on here?
My son and his friend are playing badminton against my parents.
Okay, is this at your house?
Yes.
DD,
That's
date,
July 11th, 2021.
okay, what is this?
Me and my son and his friend we found a little spot off the Pollyant Trail, which runs through Oxford. And there was some weird big boy stuff going on. So we kind of walked around and checked it out.
Okay, let's see here, EE, it looks like there's 2 posts on this date. What date is that?
That's July 30th, 2021.
Okay, and what's happening in these posts?
The first one I posted, my son and his friend were both passed out from a lot of hiking we did that day.
Okay, what about the next photo from,
Those are pictures of the campground that we were at.
okay? And so you took, is it fair to say you had the front end vacation?
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay. July 31st, I'm sorry, what's the date on this one? I'm on FF.
July 31st, 2021.
Okay, what is this?
We went to the Sleeping Bear Sand Dunes.
Okay, and where it says like plus 29, what does that mean?
There's 29 more photos that go along with that.
Okay, we're not going to show them all though. Okay. All right, we're going to GG. What's going on here? What's the date?
August 21st, 2021.
What are you guys doing? August 21st, 2021.
My son and his friend were putting up a tent in our backyard and doing backyard camping.
Okay. What's the next one? You posted this on what date?
I posted on August 21st, 2021.
Okay, and what's the point of this post?
It was a memory from 3 years ago of my son, his friend, with our horse, and I was pointing out to my son's friend's mom that they were so small 3 years ago.
Okay. What about this one? What's the date on, let's see here, II?
August 25th, 2021.
Okay, what's this?
That's his first day of school,
Okay, what grade?
10th grade.
And let's go to JJ. What's this date?
August 29th, 2021.
Okay, what's going on in this picture?
Me and my son were taking a picture for his old football coach. I tagged him in it. This is the only picture he would take with me so he could say hi to his coach Rope.
All right, what about date on this one, which is marked as KK?
September 6th, 2021.
And what's going on there?
My son's leash training his kitten.
Do cats ever walk on a leash?
It wasn't successful.
Okay. Next picture, LL. What's the date?
September 18th, 2021.
Okay, and what are you doing here?
We rented a houseboat for the weekend, and my husband and I are walking around the outside on the dock and sneaking pictures of the boys inside the houseboat playing card games
Why were you sneaking pictures of them?
because they wouldn't let us take any pictures of them.
Typical teenagers. All right, MM. What's that date?
September 18th, 2021.
Okay, and what were the photos here?
I know it was the houseboat weekend. We went to Mackinac City, so I think it was something in Mackinac City.
Okay, and then the blacked out box, is that the friend?
I think it's a friend's parents.
The friend's, okay.
Oh no, the friend, but never mind. I saw. Never mind.
Okay, NN, what's the date on this one?
September 21st, 2021.
Okay, and what's this?
My son and Dexter sleeping.
And now we are at September 20, I'm sorry, what's the date on this one? I'm on 00.
September 26th, 2021.
Okay. What does that show?
We were breaking up our side steps of the deck and planting a flower bed in the front of the house.
Okay. So we're in fall of 21, is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. What's the date on this picture? I'm on PP.
October 3rd, 2021.
Okay, what's this picture? What are these pictures about?
We decorated our house for the Halloween.
Okay, and then let's go here to QQ. Date
October 9th, 2021.
and what's shown in this picture.
Our front porch that we redid.
Okay, called it a makeover.
It was.
All right, and then let's go here to RR. What date is that?
October 15th, 2021.
Okay, and what are you doing there?
I was just showing like what we've got so far with the paint job, remodeling the living room and dining room, basically.
Okay. Next one is SS. What's the date on this one?
October 25th, 2021.
Okay, what is this?
This was a text I sent to my son. Him and my husband were going somewhere, I don't remember, but I was just checking in. I said, you guys are okay? And my son made the comment, no, we're in the back of a white van headed to Alabama, because he's very sarcastic, and I found it funny and I posted it.
Okay. Was he sarcastic
Yeah.
more? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Explain the sarcasm.
I mean, that's an example of it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was always sarcastic, always messing around with us.
Okay. When you say messing around with you, we're gonna get to that when we talk about some other posts. Is that fair?
Okay.
Okay. So let's go down to this photograph. TT, what is this? What date?
That's October 29th, 2021.
Okay. And what are you doing?
That's where we're on the virtual reality playing Beat Saber.
Okay. And then this one, you. Okay. What's the date on this one?
November 26th or 25th, 2021.
Okay. And what's going on here?
Thanksgiving.
Okay. Thanksgiving. Is this Thanksgiving Day?
Yes,
So this would have been Thursday.
correct.
Okay. We're going to talk more about the next couple of days more slowly, but I'm going to go through the pictures first. Okay. And then I'm going to take them off the screen so we can talk a little more. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the post? What is this post? What's the date on this one? VV.
November 25th, 2021.
And what is this picture? What are these pictures showing?
Our family, my aunt and uncle, my cousin, her husband, and then me, James, my son. And then it shows us playing dice, or
Okay.
left, right, center.
Is this on Thanksgiving?
Yes.
All right. And then on WW, what day is this on?
That's November 26th, 2021.
Okay. And what were you guys doing on this day, November 26th, 2021, which is a day we're going to talk about in more detail.
We're cutting our Christmas tree down.
Okay. And then ultimately we have XX. What date is this?
November 27th, 2021.
Okay. So this would have been Saturday.
Yes.
And what's going on in this picture?
We got our Christmas decorations and everything out.
Okay. Then we have YY. What day is this from?
November 26th, 2021.
Okay. And what's happening in this picture?
My son and my husband are laughing at me because I dragged them around the whole tree farm to pick the tree. So they were finally happy it was over.
Okay. So that's YY, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna close this for just a minute and just make sure that exhibits B through YY were admitted.
They're admitted, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the defense is only gonna have one other exhibit, but we'll get to that one, okay? Okay. So, Mrs. Crumbley, I wanna go back and talk to you. We went through a lot of Facebook pages, obviously, or pictures. On Thanksgiving, who was at your house?
It was my aunt and uncle, my cousin, and her husband.
And what did you guys do, if anything, that night?
Well, they were there probably until about 7 or 8 o'clock. So we played left, right, center, the normal family stuff.
Did anything seem off or strange with your son?
No,
Was he spending time with family members or was he in his room? What was he doing?
he was back and forth. He would come out and play games with us, or when it got to adult talk, he would go in his room and play his video games.
Now, we definitely saw a lot of his friend in the photographs. Were there other times where he would not have his friend with him?
Yeah, there were times.
Okay. Was he happy? Was he okay without his friend? How was he?
Yeah, I mean, most of the times it was just the three of us. It was usually out of state travel.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so on the day after Thanksgiving, what did you do that day?
I went shopping. I go shopping every year, day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday shopping. I wake up at 4 o'clock and I go shopping.
Okay, so where did you go that day if you remember?
I usually go to Meijer And then from there, I'll head up to Marshall's and Lapeer. And then sometimes I will hit the, not Home Depot, the other home improvement store, Menards. I would hit Menards.
And on that date, when you went, it was the 26th, correct?
Yes, correct.
Do you know, when you left your house, did you know what James and Ethan, your son, were going to be doing that day?
No, they were sleeping when I left.
Okay, when you got home, were they home or were they where were they?
They weren't home.
Did they ever come home?
Yeah, I texted my husband and asked where you're at, and I believe he called me and told me that him and Ethan were at the Acme firearm store looking at guns,
Okay,
and then they came home from there.
okay, did they purchase a gun that day?
They did.
Okay, the prosecution brought in exhibits showing the receipts, all that. You weren't with them when they bought the gun,
No, I
correct?
was not.
Okay. You did post on Facebook a photo of the gun. We saw the post, correct?
Correct.
And in the post that's been admitted already, you described it as your son's Christmas gift. Can you explain who wanted the gun? What does it mean?
They had rented a 9mm at the shooting range before, so they knew it was the type of gun or the size gun, I guess what it is, that they wanted to get. And my son and my husband did a lot of texting back and forth. My son did a lot of research on it, and they're comparing different ones that they wanted to buy. That went on for a couple of months. My husband just kind of kept blowing it off, like, not right now. And then I guess when I was out shopping, they said, well, let's go try on Black Friday, see if we can get one on sale, if there's any deals going on.
Okay, so they ultimately did get one.
Right.
Now, did you object? Did you say, I don't want that gun in the house? Anything like that?
No, I was more angry that they cut into our Christmas tree time. Usually cut my Christmas tree down right after I get back from shopping, but I had to wait for them. So I was irritated at that.
When they came home, did they show you the gun?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you guys do?
They just showed me it was on the kitchen counter, and then my husband put it up and we went to the Christmas tree farm.
What do you mean by put it up?
He put it back in the case with the cable lock and back in the bedroom.
Okay, let's talk about just guns overall. This jury needs to understand some details, okay? If I ask a question, you don't know what I'm talking about, let me know. Because are guns your thing?
Not really, no.
Okay, but do you have awareness about guns within your home?
I do.
Okay, who is responsible for storing the gun?
My husband is.
Okay, explain why you say he's responsible for that role.
I just didn't feel comfortable being in charge of that. It was more his thing, so I let him handle that. I didn't feel comfortable putting the lock thing on it. I just rather not let him do it.
And I think in one of the messages that was admitted with Brian, you called it a string lock.
Yeah,
Okay, do you understand now it's a cable lock?
I do.
Okay, so were there ever any times where you would take the cable lock off or put it on?
No,
Now, there were, prior to buying that gun, did James own any other guns?
he did.
How many?
2.
And by 2, the jury has seen the Derringer and the Kel-Tec. Were those the other 2?
Correct.
Okay, so those are the other 2 guns. How were those stored?
They were stored in the safe.
Okay, and was that different than the 9mm?
It was.
Okay, explain to the jury the difference.
We had a gun safe. So when they bought the 2 other guns, they transported the 2 other guns into the gun safe. And then everything else, well, I don't know. Everything went, like the cable lock and the other case went somewhere. The 9mm was in a case, but it was locked it was in the case locked with a cable lock.
Okay, and how, the cable lock that was on the 9mm, what did you have to use to get the cable lock opened?
A key.
Okay, did you have possession of the key?
No,
Okay, where was the key?
I collected German beer steins, so it was in one of the beer steins.
Where are those located?
Throughout the house. We have them on top of there's a ledge over the refrigerator in our kitchen. So they go from wall to wall. Then we had corner shelves in our house that had them. We had a lot.
Okay, did you know which particular beer stein the cable lock key was in?
No,
Do you know if your son knew which beer stein it was in?
no,
What about ammunition for the 9mm? Was there any bought on the 26th when the weapon was purchased?
no.
Okay, so that day, we saw obviously your Facebook post. You describe it as your son's gift. Did he have free access to that gun?
No, it was for him to use at the shooting range only,
Was he allowed to take it out?
not without my husband around.
Did he know where it was kept?
My husband hid it usually in our bedroom in different spots.
Okay, what was the intention of hiding it?
That's just what you're supposed to do.
Okay, and when it was hidden, was it locked in any way?
It had the cable lock on it.
Okay, and you again testified about the key being in a beer stein.
Correct.
Would the beer stein be right by the cable lock? or-
No,
Okay, so where would the beer stein be?
it would probably be in one of the ones in the kitchen.
Okay, so the key's out there, and then you've got did you know where the gun was hidden in your room on November 26th when you put it away?
No,
Okay, on November 27th, we saw the whole video of you going to the shooting range with Ethan, correct? Or with
Correct.
your son, correct?
correct.
Okay, on that day, we see it in the video that you carry the gun case into the gun range, right?
Correct.
Okay, how did the gun get to the gun range?
Well, my husband had got it ready for me and put it in the back of my car, and
What
I
does that mean, got it ready for
took
you?
the cable lock off, put I guess I put the magazine things in the case and put it in the back of my car, and then I drove with my son to the shooting range with the gun in the back of my car. That's how it got there.
Okay, did you see him or watch him take the cable lock off that day?
No,
Why not?
I think I was just doing something else. I didn't pay attention.
Okay, so when you got to the gun range, we saw in the video you carry it to the counter. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, the jury's seen all this, 5 bullets, and then you guys go shooting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we obviously see you and your son, that shows the whole experience while you're there.
Correct.
Okay, so while you're there, how interested were you in shooting that weapon?
I shot it a couple times. I don't know. Shooting's kind of boring. I'm more like skeet shooting, where actually something's going on. So I shot it a couple times, and he did the rest.
Okay, and did you end up posting something about it being a Mother's-Son Day?
I did.
How did you feel about that day?
It was a fun day. He asked me if I wanted to go to the shooting range with him, and he's never asked just me to go before. My husband was doing DoorDash, and I felt good about it.
How many times had you been to the shooting range before that day?
Once.
And when you went the one other time, who else was present?
My husband.
So this was the first day you're the only adult going.
Correct.
Okay, so after we see obviously in the video you carry the gun in the case out. Did it have the cable lock on at that point?
No.
Okay, so what did you do from there?
This is when we're leaving.
Yeah,
I put the gun in the back of my vehicle and drove.
explain where in the back of your vehicle.
So in the back of the SUV, it has a little thing that opens up where the spare tire is. I put under there.
Okay, and then where did you go?
I went home.
And did you take the gun in the house?
No, I took the bullets in the house and hid them, and my husband took the gun in the house when he got home from work.
Okay, so was there a period of time that the gun was not in the home, but in your car?
Yeah, probably for a couple hours.
Okay, why is that?
I just don't feel comfortable with it. I don't, that's his thing.
Okay, so on that Saturday, it was left in the vehicle and your vehicle was locked.
Correct.
Do you know if the gun was brought into the house and put away?
Yes.
Okay, how do you know that?
My husband told me.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you watch him do anything in terms of putting it away? Or if you didn't, just let me know.
No, I didn't.
Okay. The next day is Sunday, correct?
Correct.
And on that day, was there any Do you recall any issues with the weapon, any issues with the gun?
No,
Okay. Now, when the next day is Monday, is that right?
correct.
Okay, what did you do on Monday?
I went to work.
Okay, and on Monday, we heard the voicemail you got. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Describe for the jury overall what happened or what you were dealing with that day.
I received a voicemail on my phone while I was at work. It was Pam Fine, one of the school counselors, calling to let me know that my son was looking at bullets in class. She let me know that they had a meeting with my son and that he said what he was doing was wrong, admitted responsibility. They gave him an example about teachers, even they brew beer at home, should be looking it up in school. And it was kind of upbeat. And then she ended up with, he understood, he went back to class, just want to let you know, if you have any questions, please give us a call. Have a good holiday.
Okay, and on that day, did you call Miss Fine back?
No, I did not.
What was your reaction to getting that message?
I mean, it was pretty black and white. I mean, she said what happened. They seemed like they solved the problem and I didn't have any questions.
Okay, so on that date, did you end up saying anything to James about it?
I believe I did.
Did you say anything to your son about it?
I did.
What did you, and I think we saw text messages. You said, next time, don't get caught.
Yeah, I said seriously looking at bullets in school. And then he went through a long couple of texts about teachers looking at his stuff. And he was worried about he was going to get in trouble. And then I said, next time, don't get caught.
What did you mean by that?
So there's an ongoing thing in our house. Someone always asked me the trouble I would get in high school because I was a little bit of a troublemaker because I always got caught. Like all my friends could be doing the same thing and I'd be the one to get caught. So I was kind of referencing to that.
Okay, so you said that, and did you feel you had to discipline him or do anything beyond talk to him about it?
No, we talked. I listened to the voicemail and that was that.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go back for a couple minutes to talk to you about some exhibits the prosecution introduced from earlier in the year. Okay. So I'm going to start with what's been admitted as exhibits 155 through 160. Okay. I'm going to pop them up on the screen and we're going to just talk about each one briefly. So I'm going to go to 155. Okay, plug my. I'm sorry, it's not ready to plug it in. Okay, so I'm going to start with 155. Okay, this was already admitted, so we're not going to belabor this. Okay.
Oh, no, she doesn't have a picture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's not necessarily the fault. This one isn't coming in.
Okay.
There it is. Okay, so we've already talked about this with other witnesses, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. If you need me to slow down, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. This is Miss DeRiker's email with her and Sean Hopkins. She's telling him, when you get a chance, can you call your son down and see how he's doing? He's failing my class, tries to sleep all the time in class. Sean responds, I'll catch him by the end of the day. Thanks, just a little worried. And that's that. You heard testimony about that, correct?
Correct.
Were you ever aware there was a time where your son was failing a class and trying to sleep all in capital letters all the time in class?
I can't remember what class director was. So I'd probably be aware if he was failing that class from Power School, but I was not aware that he was sleeping all the time.
So did anyone from the school let you know in May of 2021, hey, he's sleeping in class and failing?
No.
Okay, that was exhibit 155. And would that show up on Power Schools, that emails between them?
No.
Okay, exhibit 166. This is from September 8th, 2021. It starts off with an email from Miss McConnell to Sean Hopkins. It says, can you please touch base with Ethan Crumbley? In his autobiography poem, he said he feels terrible and that his family is a mistake. Unusual responses for sure. He writes back, thanks for the heads up. I'm in senior meetings throughout the day. I'll try to catch up with him. Were you aware this was ever a discussion or an issue?
No.
were you aware that Mr. Hopkins ever talked to or tried to talk to your son?
No,
Did anyone ever call you to make you aware of any of this?
no.
If you heard this, how would you react, or what would your reaction be?
I'd be definitely concerned why he feels like his family's a mistake and he feels terrible. So that would be a concern to me.
Okay, so this is something you were unaware of.
Correct.
And in fact, when did you find out these emails existed?
We started getting discovered.
Okay, so in this case.
Correct.
All right, so I want to go to 157. This is on November 10th of 2021. This is Miss McConnell sends Sean a message. Ethan Crumbley is having a rough time right now. We may need to speak with you. Sean writes back, I'm sorry, I was in a meeting through the end of the day. I'll catch up with him. Were you ever made aware that there was some issue on November 10th where your son was having a rough time?
No,
Did anyone from the school ever let you know?
no,
Did you ever see anything like this prior to us getting materials in this case?
no.
If you heard your son was having a rough time, what would you do to follow up?
I would talk to my son, find out what's going on.
Okay. And I am going to minimize these for 1 second. I want to go back to some other dates that were discussed and exhibits were admitted. And I'm going to go back to March 20th. I'm sorry. We'll go in order. So March 16th of 2021, the prosecution has admitted exhibits 85, 86, 85 through 94. And let's see here. 85 shows you guys are making plans and you say, I'm going to get drunk and ride my horse. Can you explain to the jury what you meant by that? And I'll get it up on the screen.
I was going to have some drinks and ride my horse. It was St. Patrick's Day.
I'm sorry, that's on the 17th,
Correct.
right? Okay, the 16th though, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Okay, so explain that again. So let me get it up on the screen because I'm messing up. Okay, 85. Okay, so 85, I'm sorry, you're right. So on page 85, 432 is the page number. You write, I'm gonna get drunk and ride my horse. What was your plan that night?
I was going to have a couple drinks and go for a trail ride with my horse.
Okay, did you do that night?
Yes.
And on people's proposed exhibit 86, or their admitted exhibit, this was a text thread between you and your son. Let's see here. This is a text where the prosecution admitted to show that your son texted you, okay, the house is now haunted. What time was that text at?
It says 6:03.
Okay.
I don't know if it says -4. I don't know what that means.
Okay. And then the next text, some weird shit just happens and now I'm scared. Next one, I got some videos and a picture of the demon is throwing bowls. I'm not joking. It fucked up the kitchen. I'm just going to be an outsider for a while. Can you at least text back? Okay. Do you recall this day on March 17th, 2021?
It didn't stick out to me until this whole. No, I don't recall it exactly. I just remember it ever since we got discovery on this case.
Okay, so on March 17th, there was a point when did you ever see these texts?
I probably didn't. Not that time.
Do you recall seeing these texts at any point prior to this case?
I'm sure I did, but they weren't. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I saw them, but they just didn't stick out to me until this case.
Why didn't they stick out to you?
Because it wasn't anything that was anything serious. It was Ethan just messing around.
You gotta explain to the jury, how did Ethan mess around?
So he's been convinced our house has been haunted since 2015. It was built in 1920. Around that time frame, him and his friend would go down to the basement and play a Ouija board. So they thought we had a house ghost. So it was around that time when he would mess with us that things were going on in the house. Silverware was flying across the room. Doors were slamming. He actually took a video of the door and showed me when I got home. And you can clearly see where he's standing back with his phone, looking at the door that's open. You can see him walk up the door and you can kind of see him slam it of him trying to say, see, our house is haunted. So it was that kind of stuff that he did.
Okay, and did that continue on into 2021 when you'd get messages like this?
Only a couple of times, but I think he just got over it. Like it wasn't, he got bored with messing around with the ghost.
Did you mess around with him?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do to him?
When they were downstairs in the basement playing Ouija board one night, I went and flipped the circuit breaker off in the house, and he thought it was the ghost they conjured up on the Ouija board.
Did James ever mess around with you or with Ethan?
Yeah, a little bit.
Give us an example of what he did.
He said a lamp fell off a ledge in the basement, and so he named the ghost Victoria. So he was convinced there was another house ghost. So just kind of like an ongoing, like our house ghost, we called it. My son named it Boris Johnson. My husband named it Victoria. It was just a little phase.
Was there ever a time where James pretended he got electrocuted?
Yes.
What did he do?
We were remodeling our living room, and he was taking the old ceiling fan down, having to figure out what wires go where to the new ceiling fan. And as he was reaching up, he pretended to get electrocuted, and he fell on the ground and was shaking. And I ran up and I kicked him. I don't know why I kicked him, but I did. And then he stopped. And I realized he was joking, and my son had the phone recording the whole time.
So this kind of stuff between you, your son, and your husband was like typical joking around kind of stuff.
It was.
Okay, so when you look back at these texts now and you see that there's a demon throwing bowls and things like that, now looking back, do you think, oh my gosh, he had mental issues?
No.
What do you think was going on?
Just what I said, that it was just him messing around. He only did it when we weren't at home, and it was for a short period of time, and then he got bored.
Okay, so on that date, the prosecution admitted all kinds of stuff to show you were with your horse, and James was with your horse, correct?
Correct.
And you guys were with your horse?
Correct.
How long would you have been out there? What was a typical trip to the barn?
Usually about 3 hours. It takes about a half hour to get the horses tacked up and ready. We usually rode for about an hour, and then anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes to cool them down.
And with respect to the horses, did you and James go out there? Did you go every day?
No.
How did that work? Who went? How did you guys pick?
Whoever felt like going or had the most availability. Sometimes I'd work late, past 6 o'clock at night. I couldn't go. There's nights that my son had to go to bowling that had taken. Whatever happened that day, we just say, I'm going, or you're going, or it just was a day by day thing.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead. This has been admitted as Exhibit 84. This goes to March 8th and 9th. Okay, do you remember talking about those dates?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, now on those dates, the prosecution admitted Exhibit 84, which is up on the screen. These are texts between James and you, and it looks like you're saying you're going to have to skip the barn tonight. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you ask, is Ethan going to bowling?
Correct.
James says IDK. What does that mean?
I don't know.
All right. And you ask him about that. Okay. And I want you to describe, what are you doing in these text messages up on the screen here, these 4 in a row?
Can you go back to the green one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I got it now. I was just texting him, asking him if he was home from school yet,
Okay.
and if he had his phone on him.
So you're texting.
I think looking at this, we must have gotten into an argument about his grades and took his phone away the night before, which is why I was asking if he had his phone on him.
Is it common for you to text repeatedly about someone? Are you home? Where
Yeah.
are you?
Yes.
Okay, so in your messages, is it fair to say we're gonna see that a lot from you?
Yes.
Okay. Your husband wrote back, he does not get home till 3:16. Did you know what time Ethan got home every day?
I knew it was after 3, like shortly after. I wasn't sure to the minute.
Okay, well then you wrote, I told you to pick him up because he's upset and I don't want him to do anything stupid, god damn it. What did you mean by that?
I don't know. Just if he walked home, I was worried if like he was upset, he would just walk to Little Caesars or Frosty Boy and not let us know, and then I'd worry, or he'd take the route through. There's like some kind of woodsy area to get the trail to our house, and there's some homeless people that live back in there. It was just more or less, I was just worried about him just not wanting to come home because we got an argument the night before.
So when you say I don't want him to do anything stupid, were you worried he'd hurt himself or anything like that?
No.
And James responds, dude, chill, he is fine, and I am trying to fucking work. Your next question, does he have his phone? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And then he says he won't answer while he's walking. The exhibit speaks for itself. And then you start up with, I'm seriously freaking out. Is he home yet? And then it looks like a blank message.
Yeah.
Why are you freaking out so much?
Because he didn't tell me he was home. So, and I think he must have, I don't know, this thing with work, I couldn't get a hold of him. So it was like, why can't I get a hold of you? Why can't I get a hold of anybody?
Okay. Did this concern you ultimately that something happened that day, or did this get resolved?
I think he just got home and that was it.
Okay. Now, the next day, which would have been the 9th, you and James, we can agree, went to the barn together that day, correct?
Correct.
The prosecution provided a picture, GPS exhibits, phone data exhibits, correct?
Correct.
All right. On that day, we agree you guys are at the barn together.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to go to the prosecutor's exhibit 82 that was admitted. Okay. And you send him a message to Ethan that says, where are you? Or Ethan sends you a message that says, I'm sorry. You send a message to Ethan saying, where are you at 3:17 and 32 seconds, UTC -5, correct?
Correct.
All right. So then Ethan sends you all these texts. Can you get home now? I think that someone's in the house. Someone walked into the bathroom and flushed the toilet, left the light on. I thought it was you, but I came out, no one was home. There is no one in the house though. Dude, my door just slammed. Maybe it's just my paranoia. But when are you going to get home? Okay, what was going on that day?
So if you go back to the beginning of the thread,
Okay.
is it the beginning? So you can see the time on there. That was the time I'd be driving home from the barn. And when I got home, he just asked me why I didn't answer the text. And he said the weird stuff was going on in the house again. And that was that.
Okay, when you walked in, do you recall discussing these messages with him?
It was mainly, I've been trying to text you. Why don't you answer? And I told
He
him,
said that or you said that?
he said that.
Okay.
And I told him I was driving home. I wasn't looking at my phone.
So why weren't you looking at your phone, or what's going on with did you have a signal? Do you not have a signal? What's happening?
I could have had a signal. I don't know. I probably just had my phone in the front seat of the passenger side and didn't look at it.
Okay. When you're out at the barn, do you get every text that people send you?
No.
What's your signal like out there?
I have Metro PCS, so it's not as good as somebody had AT&T and Verizon, but there's very limited spots at any barn I've been at where there's any type of signal. Usually you have to find the one spot you'll see everybody standing at talking on the phone, but it's not all over the barn.
What about on the roads to the barn?
So that barn we were at, it was between Oxford and Groveland area. So all those roads, once I pass the market, there's no signal until I got to a fire station. Then I have a signal. And then once I pass the fire station, I wouldn't have a signal. When I hit a grocery store, I'd have a signal. Once I got past the grocery store, all the way to the barn, I had no signal.
Looking back on these texts now from March 9th, okay, seeing him say, there's someone in the house, I think. Someone walked in the bathroom and flushed the toilet, left the light on. Do you think he was having mental issues that day?
No,
What do you think, what is your conclusion about these messages at this time?
he was just messing with us.
Okay. Is this the kind of messing you previously talked about?
Yes.
All right. I want to go to March 20th. This is People's Exhibits 96 through 100. They established on this date you're out at the barn. This is you. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And another picture of you.
Yep.
And we've got data showing that you were out there, correct? And there's a text message exchange that was admitted as People's 96. I'm going to put that up on the screen for you, okay?
Okay.
So in People's 96, this is between you and your son, correct?
Correct.
He says, can you at least text back? You're asking, where's your dad? Text me when you're done yet? And he starts up with, I finished picking up the room. I cleaned until clothes started flying off the shelf. This stuff only happens when I'm home alone. I pick the clothes back up though. That's at, it looks like 2:34, and we may be off by an hour or so because it's that UTC. This one's -4. Your next text is jumping in shower, text your dad if I don't respond. And your text, no matter what the time zone is 6 hours later. Do you recall getting these texts?
It's 2 days.
Messages?
It's 2 days and 6 hours later.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. 2 days and 6 hours. So do you recall, though, getting these couple on the 20th about, I finished picking up the room, I cleaned until clothes started falling off the shelf. Do you recall that?
Only when we got discovery.
Okay. Now, looking back on these days, are you thinking, oh my God, he thought things were happening that were crazy?
No.
Do you think anything of it now?
No.
What do you think is happening in those messages?
I just think he was messing with us.
Okay, so those are 3 times where you guys are at the ranch and he's messing with you. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And at that time, that was months and months before November. It was in March. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond March, was there other times where he was saying these goofy texts and messing around?
No, I don't think so.
So there's 2 more dates I need to ask you about. I'm going to go to April 4th, which was a Sunday, and that is going to be exhibit that was admitted 101, okay? So exhibit 101 are text messages, and these are between, who are these between?
Those were between my son and his friend.
Okay, now prior to this case, did you ever see any of these messages?
I did not.
Were you aware any of them existed?
I was not.
Okay, so this is from April 4th, and your son's saying, he's the one sending messages that say, I hear people talking to me and someone in the distance. I actually asked my dad to take me to the doctor yesterday, but he gave me some pills and told me to suck it up. Like, it's at the point I'm asking to go to the doctor. Was there ever a time where he asked to go to the doctor around this time?
I don't think so, no.
Then he says, my mom laughed when I told her. Was there ever a time where he's asking for help and you're laughing?
No.
He writes to his friend, and this is just later that night, but I'm having bad insomnia and paranoia, and I need help. I was thinking of calling 911 so I could go to the hospital, but then my parents would be really pissed. Okay, so this is all one long conversation. Is that right?
Correct.
He says, I'm going to ask my parents to go to the doctors tomorrow or Tuesday again, but this time I'm going to tell them about the voices. This text message or instant message thread, were you even aware of this?
No.
Do you remember any time where he came and talked to you and said anything about hearing voices?
No.
Do you recall there ever being a time where he asked you for go to a doctor or to get help, and you said no
No,
or laughed at him.
no.
So when you see these texts with his friend, do you have any idea, and if you don't, that's fine, do you have any idea what he's doing with his friend?
I don't have any idea.
Okay. Do you know if him and his friend messed around with each other like you and your husband do with
Speculation,
him?
Judge.
If, I'm sorry.
You'd have to have personal knowledge.
When you were testifying earlier, you mentioned that your son and his friend would play within a Ouija board. Is that right?
Right.
When did that happen, or in relation to 2021?
I know he got the Ouija board for Christmas of 2020. So for a few months after that, they were really into playing it, and then they got bored with it. It's probably sitting on our shelf getting dust.
Okay. On April 29th, I'm going to turn your attention to that day. Do you recall texting his friend's mother? And I'm going to put up exhibit 104 on the screen. Okay. Do these texts look familiar to you?
They do.
Okay. Who are these between?
These are between me and his friend's mom.
Okay. And you start off with my son is in bowling tonight. I just want to let you know, not sure if he needs a partner. Why are you texting that?
I don't know why he wasn't bowling tonight, off the top of my head. But they have partners on certain nights of the week. And so him and his friend were always partners. So I was letting her know that he wasn't going to be there.
Okay. And this is on one date, April 29th. Did you talk to her on other dates, or is this like the only time you talked to her?
We've talked back and forth quite a bit.
Okay. Now on this date, you say he's been acting kind of depressed. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if there's something bothering him at school, but he doesn't really feel good. I can't get anything out of him. Friend's mom mentions he stayed home from school today too. The only time they're happy is when they're together. Talking about grades, you mentioned this is all new to me. I'm not used to my son being moody. He's usually pretty happy and we'll talk about anything. I do know he's been stressed about school and his grades. We called the school, but she wasn't in social do it tomorrow. I think his grades have a lot to do with it. I just got to a point where he's got so far behind and we were out of town. He's having difficulties making it up. Where were you guys out of town?
In Florida, my mother-in-law had passed away. So we were gone for a couple of weeks in the middle of April, taking care of funeral arrangements and everything.
And at this time, when you describe your son as being moody or depressed, did you think it was anything that warranted getting medical attention?
No, he was just being quieter. He's a quiet kid. He was just being quieter than normal. And I'd ask him if everything okay. He'd say fine, but I could just tell he was a little sad. And I thought maybe I didn't see his friend in a couple of weeks. I don't know if maybe they got into a fight and they weren't talking. So I was asking her if there was anything going on with his friend, which might have caused my son to be quieter than normal. But I think he was just really stressed out because those 2 weeks that we were in Florida, he got pretty far behind on his grades.
Okay, so then it goes on and you end up saying, yeah, me too. I'm glad they're getting along. And it wasn't an issue with those two as to why he was being depressed. The online school is horrible. I've given up too. I told him just to do his best. Don't worry about it. Next year's a new year. And then maybe if his friend is feeling better, he wants to come over to work. And then you're talking about shooting up a gun range in the backyard, correct?
Yeah. Targets.
Okay. So did this issue of him feeling depressed or acting moody, this one period of time, did that go on or did that discontinue?
It discontinued. I mean, it was a little phase. And he seemed to be fine. Him and his friends started coming over more. I think it was more or less his friend wasn't coming over as much and he just seemed quieter than normal.
And you guys were you had just been out of town.
Right. Yeah. And he just lost his grandmother. So that was sad too.
Okay. All right. And then there was one other conversation that you had with his friend's mother that the prosecution introduced as Exhibit 105. I'm going to put that up, okay? So this is actually from, let's see here, starts off on, I'm going to go to Halloween, so 10/31 of 21, you say to her, James filled me in on his friend last night. I'm so sorry you guys are having to make such a hard decision. Please let me know if you need anything. What was that about?
We had found out the day before Halloween that his son, my son's friend, went to Wisconsin to an OCD treatment school. We didn't know we had Halloween plans, and we were texting with his friend's parents about his friends still coming over to carve pumpkins on Halloween because they do it every year, and then they go out and trick or treat. And we didn't hear from him, and all of a sudden we got my husband found out through his friend's dad that they drove to Wisconsin, and he's at an OCD treatment center for at least 90 days. So it hit us really hard because we didn't really expect it coming. He didn't expect it coming. It was hard.
Did you do anything different as a parent when his friend was taken away, essentially, to the hospital or the other school?
I don't understand.
Did you do anything different as a parent in terms of spending time with your son?
I mean, we did as much as we could.
Okay, tell us about that. Tell us about that month.
I think we did more family game nights than normal. He was working a lot. I'd check in with him, make sure he's doing okay. That's when I started asking him, do you have friends at school that you can hang out with? And if so, you're more than welcome to invite him over.
Okay.
I was more on point with the fact that he was sad.
Okay. And even though he was sad, did you feel like there was anything where he needed help or needed mental health treatment?
No.
Was his loss of his friend being in his life anything that made you think he needed counseling or a therapist?
Not to that extent, no.
I'm gonna unplug this so that we can go back through some questions that don't involve exhibits, okay? Okay. So we were talking earlier about the mother-son gun range day, right?
Correct.
You've already told the jury how the gun was put in the car and taken out. Okay. Now, did you ever tell Brian Maloche about the mother-son day at the range?
I'm sure I mentioned it, yeah.
Did you ever tell Brian that the gun was in your vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. When did you tell Brian that the gun was in your vehicle?
On the day I went to the shooting range.
Did you tell Brian you put the gun in your car the day the shooting happened?
No.
So when he testified to that, was that accurate?
No, I think he was confused.
Okay. Did you specifically tell him about the gun being put in your car that other time?
Yes.
Aside from that time that you drove to the range, was the gun ever in your car?
No.
Were you aware Brian had memory issues?
No, I was not.
Brian testified that he never met Ethan. Later in his testimony, he said he did. Did he ever meet Ethan?
Yeah, a couple of times at the barn.
Okay.
And we went, he came to our house, he helped deliver a big TV that we got, and my son was there.
Well, did you ever tell Brian anything about your son saying things or making you upset in any way like that?
No.
Did you ever tell Brian anything about he had mental health issues that you were worried about?
No.
So when we read your messages, which the prosecution admitted, the 77 pages, okay, it's fair to say the jury can read what you guys talked about and you reflect on you talk about the past with Ethan, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the jury can read those. We don't need to go through those. You agree?
I agree.
Okay. So we got to Monday. Monday is 2 days after you guys go for the Mother's Sunday at the shooting range. Monday, Miss Fine leaves you the voicemail. We talked about that already. Talked about you talking to your son about it, right? Okay, I want to go to Tuesday, the 30th. Okay.
Okay.
Do you remember Tuesday the 30th?
I do.
And that day, we saw an exhibit of you going into work. That happened?
Yes.
And we heard lots of testimony already about you getting a call from Sean Hopkins.
Correct. He left me a voicemail and I called him back.
Okay, when you called back, Mr. Hopkins testified that he sent you something. What did he send you?
He sent me a copy of a math worksheet that had the scribbled out drawings on it.
Okay, and I want to ask you, the night before that scribbles out drawing thing came to you, did you have any interactions with your son?
Yes, we did.
What were those about?
I saw in Power School that he had an E in geometry. So we got in an argument again about his grades. We took his phone away and told him that he couldn't go to the shooting range until his grades were brought back up.
Okay, so you guys had this argument the night before. We saw lots of messages where you thought everything was fine that Tuesday morning. Is that how you felt?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you got that math paper texted to you, do you recall saying anything to Ethan on the phone?
I just paused it for a second because I need to explain this math paper issue to you. There's actually one paper that he drew the gun, he drew the body, the blood around the body, and he wrote some statements on the paper. And the teacher took a picture of that to send to the administration at the school. After she did that, he took the paper and he scribbled over everything. So what she's saying on the stand is that she didn't get the first copy showing the gun. She got the copy showing everything scribbled out, which I don't believe that's true, but okay.
On speaker.
Yeah, I asked him why he did that.
Okay, what were you thinking at that point?
I was actually kind of angry because I thought he did that in like defiance of us yelling him about missing assignments, and here he is drawing pictures on an empty assignment page in geometry.
So you felt like it was specifically him sending you a message about the night before?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say you took it personally?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what did you do?
I had asked Mr. Hopkins if he had the original, and then he sent it to my email, which then I opened up and looked at it, and it's like, okay.
What did you think when you saw that?
I was a little concerned. I was pretty concerned. He had asked for a parent to come to the school to meet with them, and at this time I tried calling my husband to see if he could go because he was out in the area working, and I couldn't get a hold of him. So I decided to go to the school. On the way to the school, he finally called me back and he met me at the school. So we went together.
Okay, and when you went into the school, what did you think was happening?
I thought he was gonna get in trouble for what he drew on his assignment. I thought I was gonna get suspended. I was expecting a disciplinary meeting.
Okay, how did you feel about what you saw on that paper?
I felt concerned after seeing that.
Okay, and so we saw that you sent pictures of the math papers to Kira, to Andy, to Brian. It's fair to say you sent them around to people.
I did.
Okay, and to all those people, we've already seen all the exhibits. You expressed that concern.
Correct.
Okay, so what happens when you get to the school with you and James arrived separately? I think the detective testified that he was wrong at first, thinking you went together, but you guys were separate, got there at the same time.
Correct.
Went in. What was it like walking into the meeting with Mr. Hopkins and Mr. Ejak? Who was there?
So when we first got there, Mr. Hopkins met us out in front of where the administration is and walked us back to his counseling office. When we walked in, it was just him, and then my son was sitting in a chair in front of his desk, working on something on his laptop. So when he walked in, he kind of showed us where to sit, and then we shook hands, introduced himself, and started the meeting.
Did you try to hug Ethan or do anything like that?
I didn't.
Okay. And when, how did that meeting go?
It was pretty nonchalant. It was pretty brief. He started to tell, he basically filled me in on what my son and him were talking about for the last hour and a half. He said that my son told him that he was feeling sad over the death of a dog that we had. My mother-in-law lost his friend. So we talked a little bit about that. We confirmed it. We decided we agreed it was hard on him. He told us that he didn't feel my son was a risk, and actually gave him the option if he wanted to stay at school or go home. My son wanted to stay at school, so we all discussed that.
Did you feel like you were taking the position of, I am leaving him at school whether he can be here or not?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Were you surprised or were you not surprised? Did you have any feelings about whether or not he could stay at school?
I didn't really, I thought the advice that they were giving us was a good advice. We talked about him being sad, and then he said being around peers usually helps. We all agreed to that. My son gets very stressed out when he does virtual school. So we agreed that it might stress him out more to do his school remotely the rest of the day. But there was never a time where I would refuse to take him home. I could easily, if he wanted to go, take him with me. I had no issues with that.
Okay, so ultimately, did you take a paper from the school?
The counseling papers, yeah.
Okay,
There is a stack, like maybe 10 sheets with multiple counselors listed on them.
okay. And were you planning to do anything with that sheet?
Yeah, actually, we were going to start. I gave it to my husband out in the parking lot, and I told him I had phone calls at work the rest of the day. So I told him to start making calls once he got done doing his DoorDash.
Okay, now the prosecution introduced and admitted an exhibit, which was a search off of Yahoo about clinical depression treatments. Do you recall ever I'm saying Googling, but do you recall ever searching that topic?
I don't, and I don't usually use Yahoo as a search engine. I always use Google, so I don't know. I don't recall it, no.
Okay. Do you recall how or if you ever saw anything on Yahoo about clinical depression?
I don't remember specifically seeing anything. I might have looked at something when my husband was going through a really hard time after his mother passed away. He was he was drinking a little bit more than usual, and you just tell that he wasn't right. So I might have looked at something at that time, seeing if he was depressed, but not. I don't know where Yahoo came from.
You don't know how the Yahoo came to
No.
be? Okay. When you're on Facebook and Instagram and all those things, do you ever hit the clickbait stuff?
Sometimes on accident, sometimes I do on purpose.
Okay, so that search on Yahoo, you don't remember ever putting that in the search bar?
No.
Okay. But you are saying it's possible you looked at it. Is that
It's possible.
okay? All right. So let's go back. So you're at the meeting. How did the meeting end?
So we all decided that my son was going to go back to his class. So we wrote him a pass to go back to class. After he left, all four of us were in the meeting, and they asked if we had any questions, and we did not. And then I said, I'm going to go back to work. And we left, and I went to work, and my husband did DoorDash. And
Did you mean to be abrupt about ending the meeting?
I didn't think I was abrupt.
Did you think you ended the meeting?
I think it just automatically ended when they asked if we had any questions, and I said no.
Okay. So when there was testimony about that, I'm sorry, strike that.
Let me ask you this, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm looking for a natural break.
We could do it now.
Well, does Jerry do you need a break? Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm trying to just want to be considerate of.
No, we can go anytime. That's fine.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt you.
You're fine. It's fine.
So can you take it until about 5 after 3? Second?
All right, for the jury.
Timothy
So they're going to resume her testimony tomorrow, and that will include the cross-examination. Um, that last part, I'm not buying it, because I heard that I listened through the testimony of the counselor and the dean, and I'm not buying it. I think she, I don't know. She just didn't have a clue, did she? Not a clue. The counselor thought he was suicidal and needed help. And both he and the dean confirmed that she said she had to get back to work. Crazy. Anyway, would you guys like to see the rest live? Do you want me to record it in the morning, or do you want me to just give you a recap? Whatever you guys want, I'm okay with it. I'll get my coffee, I'll watch it, and I can do a recap, or I can show it live. And then you can watch it back on the replay if you're working or you want to watch it in the evening. Just let me know. Show of hands. Record it. Okay. I agree, Joanna. And the fact that no one during that meeting said, does your son own a gun? Does he own a gun? He's drawn a picture of a gun. It's pretty specific looking. Does he own a gun? And nobody bothered to look in that backpack. I mean, my God. Her job is more important than her son. And her employer testified, we are a family-friendly employer. If she needed time off to take care of her son, we would have given it to her. Okay. So what I can do is, tomorrow's Friday night. I don't want to go over Mickey or Jen. So, if you guys want to get together and watch this, I can record it. We can watch it it would be late, 9 Central tomorrow night. I could show it, or I could just recap it for you. Oh yeah, she's, and now what the jury is going to have to decide is who's more credible. Who was more credible, her or the counselor and the dean? Now, I think all three of them were being completely self-serving in their testimony. So I think the truth probably lies somewhere in between the three of what they're saying, but I don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will plan a live for tomorrow night after Jen goes live at 9. She goes live from, what time does she go live? 9 to 10. So it'll be 10 Eastern, 9 Central time. I will go live and we will sit and watch this together if you guys would like to. Or recap. Yeah. Let me see how it goes. If there's some fireworks, or I could show it on Saturday morning. We could get together for coffee on Saturday morning and watch it. Whatever you guys want. Okay. All righty. I don't mind doing a late night live or an early morning live on Saturday where we just watch it and talk about it. Okay. You know what? Saturday sounds pretty good. We'll do Saturday morning. I think that would work out. Saturday morning, because Saturday morning sounds good. But then I'll have seen it, and I'll can sort of narrate and tell you what happens as well too. But I love that you guys are asking questions and that I'm able to answer your questions. But I wouldn't want to be the jury here. I really wouldn't, because this is, now they've got to decide who's telling the truth. Is she telling the truth, or are these other people telling the truth? So, okay. So yeah. Oh, you work Saturday morning. I'm sorry, Vivian. But yeah. Tomorrow I am going to do an episode because I want to recap the testimony of the guy she was having an affair with. So I will put out a show tomorrow for that. But Saturday morning, I'll do a live and I will show you the rest of her testimony on Saturday morning. So have a great night, everybody. Thursday night. I love you all. See you tomorrow in Crafting and Crime Daily. Bye, everybody.